Yo guys, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another Booty's Boy Wrestling fan interview. Today I'm joined by my very special guest, the Moonlight Son, Mike Skyros. He is the current K1 Cup champion. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm great, man. Glad to be here.
Are you staying safe, healthy, all that during the pandemic going on?
Man, as much as we can be, just I'm wearing my mask, I'm staying away from people. It's good, man. Just trying to do what I can.
Now, as I just introduced you as the Son, what exactly does that mean?
Yeah, so the name actually comes from a guy named Jose Garcia who has worked a lot with XWA in Rhode Island. He put the name on a poster just because he thought it sounded cool, and I was like, I like the ring of that. I'd like to steal that, and he let me steal it. Uh, Basically, like when someone says it, and at least when someone said it to me, like a certain image popped in my head. So whatever that image is, whether it's like some people think it's like a vampire thing or a werewolf thing or like a like a nighttime thing, like that's kind of more the vibe I go for with my character. So all those things and whatever it means to you.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
Now, when you come out of the curtain, you wear a mask, and not a COVID-19 pandemic mask. I'm
Yeah.
talking about it's kind of like a luchador venom mask. Actually, is what it is. What, where does the mask get involved in your character?
Yeah, so when we were just on lockdown over the summer with COVID, I was kind of looking for things online to like spice up the look and like throw a little variety in there. I'm a big comic book guy, and I was looking through this Etsy page of luchador masks, and there was the Venom mask, and it had the tongue and all that. I'm like, oh man, that'd be really cool. And it kind of coincided with a point in time in my wrestling that I came off of a match at I believe it was Lone Survivor against Sammy, the rematch, where like I won, which was great, but I didn't feel like I was vicious enough or I wasn't aggressive enough, and I kind of wanted to tap into that side of myself. And the Venom mask like gave me it's kind of my placebo a little bit to go into that side, and in those matches I felt like more effective. I've worn it other places too. At Excite Wrestling, I've worn it, and it just lets me kind of get into a different headspace and approach the match differently.
Mhm. Now, Halloween was 2 days ago.
Yes.
I don't know where you are from exactly. Massachusetts, they canceled Halloween.
Yep.
Um, did you go as Venom for Halloween? If you did do some kind of celebratory thing for Halloween.
Yeah, I was Venom for Halloween. We kind of just kept it to a small couple friends at the house. Like, I'm in upstate Syracuse, New York, and
Ah,
for the most part, things were not as shut down as Massachusetts, but they had pretty strong restrictions. And plus, a lot of people aren't comfortable, and rightfully so, being in large crowds of people, me included. So just kind of kept it low key. But I did wear the Venom mask and the Venom shirt.
now you're coming off two. I believe it's two. It might be three. The last two Test of Shank shows were my first, by the way. Um, so from what I've seen, you've come up. You are now 2-0, at least the shows that I've been at. Against, I would say, like one and a half great opponents. Matt Caster is the one. Alec Price. I don't know what you really want to say about that guy. What is it like to be 2-0? You might be 3-0. I don't know, but you get
Yeah.
what I'm saying.
Yeah. Alex, get under your skin a little bit.
A little bit.
He didn't have the
A
nicest
little.
things to say to you at the last show. I know that.
No, no.
So, uh, man, a lot of people try to show up on social media and like run people down or whatever, and that's not really my style. Like both of those guys are obviously high level wrestlers. They were high level opponents. I mean, I had beef with them off the start, just coming in trying to go after the K1 Classic trophy, but even the way they approached the match, I thought was kind of disrespectful. So like, I really had to show them where I stood in terms of being a wrestler. I came out on top, and hey man, you talk trash, you get beat. That's the way it is, and that's what I tried to bring to him. So I felt proud of myself for those matches. I felt proud of my performance in those matches, and hopefully there'll be more stuff like that going forward, though. In terms of them as wrestlers, though, nothing bad to say. They're both fantastic talents, and I'm sure they're going to go all kinds of places.
Now, what are your thoughts on Alec Price's manager? Apparently, it's its agent, Howard Davidson, something Harley Davidson, trying to interfere and give Alec the cup, but cheating in a way.
Yeah, like even before, like I posted some stuff on my different social media about it. Like Alec, I respect just for the fact he's a high level wrestler. He came from a lot of the same lineage that I do, but I got no respect for that dude's manager. Like the dude always comes off as a snob. The dude is always kind of like poking around and like speaking on other people's stuff that he's not really involved in. Like that was a match between me and Alec, and I really take it personal when he sticks his nose in my business like that and tries to get involved in the match. And you saw what happened. He ate a super kick from his own guy, and by the time I left, they were both laying. So really not a big fan of that dude, and he kind of got what was coming to him, even though it wasn't from me.
Now, when on another thing that you wear when you come out, and even in your wrestling matches, you wear a mouth guard. Why is
Yeah.
that?
Honestly, when I first started wrestling in way back in like 2014, I just wanted something like, first of all, a couple friends of mine got concussions, and that was a good way to like when you have the mouth guard in, and even if your head snaps back, it stops your jaw from close like that, and it
Mm-hmm.
really helps you from getting KO'd. Protects your teeth a little bit too, so I liked it from that aspect. And similar to the Venom mask, really, it kind of I feel less like day to day myself when I put the mouth guard in. It's kind of like my switch. Like I turn into the more like athlete side of myself, and I can just kind of bore forward with that. So the teeth, like I just saw it online. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Got to put the teeth on that. It all kind of comes from getting myself set and ready to go into the match like as focused and as like aggressive as I can.
Now, what have you been doing during quarantine to stay in wrestling shape readiness? I don't know if that made sense. I
No, it
really
does.
confused myself, but
No, you're good, man.
what have
It's
you been doing to stay in shape?
it's tough because for the longest time training wasn't open at all in New York. Luckily now we're at the point where gyms can open. We do no contact training, just footwork and cardio. But other than that, I've literally just been running the streets of Syracuse. Like if you're in downtown Syracuse, you will see me running around campus, the parks, like the shops, like all that. Like it's Syracuse downtown is a very like hilly, snowy area, and it sucks to run in. But the good thing about all those hills and the low temperature is that it humbles you and it builds strong lungs. So I just run as much as I can to keep the cardio up and make sure I'm not out in the ring sucking wind.
Now, if someone ever was to try and rob you while you're on your late night run, because I saw the Instagram video the other day, um,
Yeah.
how fast are you, and who's more likely to come out of that situation the winner, you or the robber?
Man, I pray for whoever tries to run up on me. Like, first of all, they're not going to catch. Secondly, like I'm not 24/7 champ anymore from Immortal Championship Wrestling, but like I still have that mindset where like I'm always like looking over my shoulder. So if anyone runs up on me, I'm ready, and I'm not gonna be any kind of sitting duck for anybody in the streets of Syracuse. Like none of these crackheads are gonna do anything to me.
Now, do you have any home gym equipment that you've been using before gyms and before restrictions were lifted?
Yeah, I dropped a little bit of my I don't even want to call it quarantine money on my a little home gym thing, and that really carried me through. The tough part about any sort of workout equipment right now, and anyone who's out there like buying stuff, even now knows that like people are just because the stuff is in such high demand, all the prices are crazy. So you really got to
Uh-huh.
get creative to like find what kind of setup you have, but it's like anything else when there's lean times, man. You got to make the most out of a little. So I got my squat rack, I got my weights, got my barbells, and I got the world to run in and doing a lot of calisthenics and that kind of thing. Just whatever I can to break a sweat and stay moving.
Now, some people have treated their home gyms and their basements basement, a spare room, outside even. Where do you keep your home gym equipment?
Mine is like right in the living room of my house. I have a space set aside with like all my with my squat rack, my pull-up bar, dip bar, my dumbbells, barbells, all that stuff. I'm really fortunate in the fact that a friend of mine from a previous job is a very high level bodybuilding trainer actually, and he's come up with all these plans to keep me in shape. My coach at the gym, my wrestling gym, Isis Effects, has also worked out with me a bunch, thrown his expertise into there. So at this point, I have a good mix of like, I have my personal trainer that does all my food stuff. I have the same personal trainer that does all my workouts, whether the gym's open or not. And I have my wrestling trainer to do all the wrestling side of it. So uh, I'm really feeling like I have like a team of people that are working to help make all my fitness stuff happen and my wrestling stuff happen. So that's been really cool for me.
What has your diet been like?
The diet is like super boring. Uh, like the whole summer, there was a period of time where I had like 8 weeks without a cheat meal, and that was one of the worst experiences of my life. The thing is, like everyone looks for like some kind of like a fad diet. Like I know a lot of people like keto, and like way back in the day it was like Atkins diet, caveman diet. I eat a very basic diet of like eggs, chicken, vegetables, like lean meats, like lean ground beef, Greek yogurt, stuff like that, protein shakes. If you do the simple stuff consistently over and over again, it works. Like I promise. The fad diet, it may bring you all the way down. It may do nothing for you, but the consistent, like simple diet, in my opinion, is where it's at for all fitness stuff.
Now, I'm noticing as you're holding up your camera, you keep kind of pointing to your TV in the background.
Yeah.
What exactly are you watching? I just felt like
So I
asking
got
that.
I got beef with Ty Shine. He was talking all kinds
Oh,
of trash during the NBA Finals about the GOAT LeBron James. So I threw the GOAT up right for this interview, telling Ty Shine he was talking mad crap about the Heat are gonna win the series in six, and the King pulled through. So any chance I get to rub his face in that a little bit, Ty Shine, that one's for you.
he'll be on Wednesday, so hopefully he
Let him
watches this
know.
interview.
Let him know.
I keep noticing. I'm like, he keeps turning his camera towards the TV, and it looks like LeBron's on it. So,
Yeah.
um, so another thing that about your character is, you have an interesting hairstyle. It's a
Yeah.
mohawk, but it goes into a ponytail kind of thing.
Yeah, it's
Explain
all
how
tied
you
up.
explain how that works and how your hair does not get pulled during a match.
My hair gets pulled during matches all the time. It just depends who I'm in there with. Like it gets, everyone knows what it's like to have someone pull your hair, but when you have like long hair, especially like it's tight in a braid, and someone grabs and like yanks, it's like, dude, what the hell? Like it's so frustrating. So that happens to me all the time. The hair came from I when I first started wrestling too, like I shaved my hair like right to the scalp all the time, and I rocked with like different short hairstyles for a while, and I was like, it was basically my trainer was like, all the big time wrestling stars have long hair, so you guys should grow your hair out long. And we're all like, okay. So we did that, but like the sides grow in so fast for me that I was like, man, I don't want to grow these sides in. I'm just gonna shave like this mohawk into my head, and I grinded it out. I waited. I was patient, and eventually just stuck with it. And then luckily, I found a barber in town that does braids, and I was watching an episode of the show Vikings one time. I'm like, man, that's really cool. I should do that. So I ripped off their braid, and I've been doing that ever since.
So it sounds like in your character, the Moonlight Sun, it's come from everyone and not no original kind of.
Yeah,
Is that kind of right?
yeah, it's like a combination of like the things I see around me that I think is cool. Like, I pull a little from this, I pull a little from that. Like, I really try to present as much as I can of things that I think are interesting without like blatantly ripping them off, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, no, when you explained the Moonlight Sun, that came from
Yeah.
someone because he just put it on a poster. The hairstyle, and then I think the only thing that I'm taking away from this that you've actually come up with on your own is the mouth guard.
Yes.
Because no, I mean anyone else can wear a mouth guard in wrestling. So,
Yeah.
um, what has something that you've been doing to stay in the topic of wrestling to keep your mind wrestling related during quarantine?
So the thing with wrestling that I found for me is that I have to be conscious to take a little time away from wrestling, like my day-to-day life. Like wrestling is the thing I care about the most in life. I'm obsessed with professional wrestling. But with that too, like it weighs on you mentally when you're thinking about wrestling 24/7. You can kind of get caught up in the whole wrestling world in a negative way mentally. So I try to find inspiration like from sports or like going on a hike outside to some mountain, which I did a lot this summer, or like spending time like with friends or whatever and watching a movie. Like it's been really positive for me to actually still like keep up with like my tape study and all that, but not obsess over wrestling 24/7. And I find that the inspiration for different moves or like gear or like promos or whatever like comes to me more naturally when I'm not as fixated on it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. It does. Um, so during Don Kincaid's interview, the stepdads were on it, and then you kind of came in and you just poked your head in the middle of it,
Yeah.
taking over the show, and then you left and never came back. Don't know where you went.
Yes. Oh,
um, that's I would imagine so. I don't know where else anyone would want to go after a wrestling show. Hey, that kind of rhymed.
yeah,
I'm so off topic.
you're good.
Basically, um, when you kind of did that little cameo, Radley Belmont of the Stepdads was talking trash because supposedly you took a belt away from him. What was that about?
So, the belt he's talking about specifically is when we were both in a company called New York Championship Wrestling that runs about an hour outside of Syracuse. The Stepdads were the tag team champions. Myself and my tag team partner, Nasty Kevin, were the number one contenders, and we beat them for the championships and took their belts. It's as simple as that. And he's still kind of
Oh,
salty over it, which is okay. I've known the Stepdads for a little over 10 years now, which is crazy. Like we both used to, all three of us used to talk on like message boards and stuff about like wrestling, just like way back in the day when I was in high school.
mhm.
And on a, like an off topic kind of thing, but I'm really happy to see that they're like out and doing their thing, and especially in Texas Strength Wrestling, where I think they fit in perfect. Like I think everyone really digs what they bring to the table. So, like we tease each other all the time because that's just how we know each other. But I couldn't be happier for those dudes.
Now, what's it like to know that you are the K1 Cup champion? And for anyone that doesn't know what that means or what it stands for, is it's the Killer Kowalski Cup,
Yeah.
correct?
Yes.
Um, what's it like to have the honor to be a champion of that cup?
It means a whole lot to me. A lot of people might think it's a bit corny, like, oh, it's just a trophy, it's just a championship, whatever. But that one specifically is cool. So a little history on myself. My trainer is Zachary Springate III. He was trained in the late 90s by Killer Kowalski. So we have a direct lineage to our school. Slick Wagner Brown actually came out of the Kowalski school about the same time as Springate as well. A couple other wrestlers like Jay Freddy from the Kowalski guys trained at the same place that I did a few years before I did. So to represent someone that meant so much to my trainer and like everyone from my school, my area, and who is directly responsible for me being here as a wrestler, man, that's so cool to me, and I take a lot of pride in being that champion. And it's really cool that Tessa Strang gives me the opportunity to win that championship and to keep defending against high level opponents. So like it's really special to me, and it's like really cool that it worked out that way specifically because like it's just it's so like random that I would end up there at that time to fight for that championship states over, but it's funny how life works out.
Now, the funny thing is about when you popped up on that cameo for my interview, it's actually the thumbnail of it.
Yeah.
It's the four of us, and you posted that thumbnail on your Instagram story about merch.
Yeah.
Is that going to be your new merch? Just it's going to be you, and then other people have to guess who the other four dudes behind you are.
No, I didn't think about it like that because it was like, oh, I'm just like sticking my head in, like just asking a question. That's how I approached that Instagram post. But if someone has like a cool design, I could see that being a t-shirt. Yeah. Uh, it was funny because when you guys were down there, like I was so like in the zone, just like wanting to run over and just like say hi to everyone or like bother them that I didn't even notice that there was an interview going on. I jump in like, oh, there's a camera there. Let me put my head in there.
Mhm. Yeah, when the video was uploading, I'm like, oh, that's the thumbnail. Oh, that's when Skyros came in and just poked
Yep.
his head in.
Yeah.
And I assume this thumbnail will have LeBron James in the back, special guest appearance.
I hope so. That's what I'm aiming for.
um, so what is exactly the beef between you and Ty Shine with basketball then?
He just has a lot of like boomer opinions on basketball. He spits out he regurgitates a lot of Skip Bayless esque comments, and he's off. His basketball opinions are trash.
Who do you think is the next deserving opponent of the K1 Cup championship?
It's tough because like even though I'm the champion, I don't really have a lot of swing in terms of like who gets this shot. Uh, that's more like TOS management. I
Yeah.
know that Mike Verna has got a lot of social media like fans jumping on, being like, he deserves a title shot. And man, he's a really high level wrestler. He's done a lot in the area. Like he's definitely earned it. So if that's the way it ends up being, that'd be cool. There are a lot of guys on the roster I would like to wrestle. I know Sammy wants another shot. I know uh, a guy like Bobby Ocean could definitely get a shot. Even a guy like Ichiban that's coming up, I could see him getting a shot down the line. Uh, there are like other New England guys I would like to see in there, like Christian Casanova is a dude that I've wanted to wrestle for a long time. That I think would be a crazy match if he jumped in there. Just all whoever's the toughest opponent they can bring me that'll bring the most out of me. Like that's what I want to see. Like I want to put on the craziest match I can.
Now, if we take away the K1 Cup championship away from you, what
Yeah,
is a dream match that you want to have with another wrestler? Dream opponent.
that's tough, man. It's like if I'm going like big, I would love to wrestle Great Muta or Minoru Suzuki. Those are two of my favorites that are still active and out there right now. I mean, Casanova is one. I wrestled him almost exactly 5 years ago, and I've wanted a rematch since. That would be really cool. A couple guys from my area that have been up here, like Daniel Garcia, I've wanted to have a match with for a long time. We train together from time to time. Kevin Bennett from Buffalo as well. There are a lot of high level guys in the indies that I run into all the time. I'm like, man, that would be a cool match. Those are my picks so far. But I'm sure I could come up with 20, 30 names if I really sat down and thought about it.
Now, what is the worst bump that you have taken in wrestling?
Oh man, there are three that stick out in my mind. So first one isn't really a bump per se. I was sitting in the corner. Is This was in 2016 or 2017, and a guy went up for a drop kick, and his entire body landed on my left foot, and it broke 3 bones in my left foot, and I couldn't walk for like a month. That sucked really bad. Just like the whole ride over, it just felt like my foot was literally on fire. Like that was awful. Uh, the same company, like a year and a half later, I was laying down, there was a ladder on me, and this dude hit a swanton. He was probably like 240 at the time and just crushed me, almost broke my arm. Like that was pretty bad. And then one time, I was the unfortunate recipient of a falcon arrow off the top rope, and just being that high in the air and just coming down flat even sucked. Like for some reason, like that one just drove all the wind out of me so bad. So those would probably be my picks.
Wow, those sound painful.
Yeah, it sucked real bad.
um, what is your advice for someone that wants to get into wrestling?
Man, I I feel weird giving advice, first of all. It's a very valid question, but I always feel weird when people ask me this. But what I'll say is like you're in control of a lot of your destiny in terms of like if you work as hard as you can and you show up, like if you put absolute like complete effort into everything that you do and you're good to people and you show up, like there isn't much more you can do outside of that. Like if you give your absolute 100% effort into wrestling, I think you would get a lot of what you want back out of it. Like I haven't been contracted to a major company. I haven't been overseas. There's a lot of stuff that I still plan on doing that I haven't done, but wrestling's given me so many good experiences. A lot of it was just by being in the right place at the right time and showing up. So that's what I would say.
Now, this next name that I'm about to mention, me and him are pretty good friends. He was the one that I was interviewing, Don Kincaid. I know he watches these interviews. You were
Yes.
supposed to be on his show a couple of weeks ago, and it was going to be
Yeah.
different. It was going to be a live
Yeah.
Q&A on Facebook, and for some reason his phone did not want to work. So, what are your thoughts on that? Him not having the good enough connection to do
Oh man,
your interview.
that that hurt me because like we had a good crowd there for a live. Like a lot of times when you start a live broadcast, whatever platform you're on, just like people are off doing stuff or they don't see the notification or it doesn't pop up. Like we had like a good crowd in there, like right off the bat, and we just couldn't get it to link up. And I was so frustrated. I was like, man, if we could just get this going, we would keep them and we would be able to put over a good interview and like go forward to that and maybe draw like 40, 50 people in here, but it didn't happen. I was like, I don't know if it was his phone or mine, but like I was so pissed off that that couldn't go through.
If you could do a quick 30-second promo on that interview not happening and not working, what would you say?
Man, Don Kincaid, I don't know what boondocks you're living out there in the woods in New England or whatever COVID like fortress you've built for yourself, but you got to tear down a few of those walls so the Wi-Fi can get through and we can do interviews. You're killing my clout. You're killing like my popularity. All the people had questions to ask me and we didn't get to them, dude. You got to send me like a Christmas card and a bouquet of flowers or something. You let me down, man. I'm hurt.
Oh, I can't wait for him to watch this. The Boondocks.
I just imagine Kincaid living out like out like where the hills have eyes or something, like out in like the just the deep woods, like by a nuclear power plant or something.
That's interesting. I don't know if you ever heard of the DK Wasteland, but that's near his house.
I'm not familiar, no, but that sounds exactly like he would be, or like a swamp, Shrek.
His backyard's interesting. He's got like a fire pit, and it's like a good like backyard to have a match, like a death match. No ring, just straight up extreme rules, hardcore match. He's got a
Kincaid's not
pile
gonna
of
have to,
rat. Oh, go ahead.
I said Kincaid's gonna have to pay me a lot of money to show up at his compound and wrestle in his backyard.
Oh, I have his address if you want it. You can just take a trip. Kincaid, I know you're watching this. I'm obviously joking. Wink, wink. So I really don't have any more questions. Is there anything that you would like to ask me on this interview?
Yeah, like you said, this was your second Test of Strength show, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Well, what have
First
your
was Fight for Your Dreams.
okay? What have your impressions of Test of Strength been so far? I know we're a newer company, but I feel like we've done a lot to like try and get our name out there.
Well, I went to like the TOS open house back in like June. It was
Yeah,
like an open house, and I definitely want to be a wrestler. Going to those shows and seeing how it is, seeing all the wrestlers that are on the roster. I heard of Ichiban before. I didn't know who he was, and then once I saw him at Fight for Your Dreams in September, I'm like, oh, that guy's pretty funny. And then I heard your name And then I heard the Stepdads were making their debut on the TOS roster.
Yeah.
The Kowalski guys. TOS is one of the um, best wrestling companies in New England. It's in Connecticut, so it's more like that tri-state area of Connecticut, New York, and I think Massachusetts is a part of it. I don't know, but it's a great company. I enjoy going to these shows. I don't know what the future holds for future shows because it's cold outside and
Yeah.
Riders is not. I don't want to be outside for a 3-hour wrestling show. I mean, I would love to, but not in December
No.
and late November. But they put on a great show. It's definitely going. It's worth going to and purchasing a ticket. And even I had a lot of wrestlers on in the past supporting local wrestlers, so
Yep.
it's worth it. Yeah. So that's my answer. Anything else that you'd like to ask me?
That was my main thing, man. And this isn't really a question, but I want to say thanks again for having me on the show, and like I've really appreciated you like taking the time to try and get to know like the guys on the TOS crew, because I think we have a really good team of wrestlers out here, and we're really like committed to try and do something big, not only for each of us individually, but for the collective team. And guys like you getting our name out there and like asking us questions and doing interviews, that goes a long way to like helping us out. So you're appreciated.
um, it's funny that you say that because this whole week is full of TOS interviews.
Awesome.
I was supposed to have HBO on yesterday. I said
Yeah.
HBO, everyone, not HBO, not the channel
Yeah.
on TV. And then unfortunately, our time restraints didn't work out to when we planned. Tomorrow, Karen Bam Bam's supposed to be on.
He's great.
Wednesday, Ty Shine. Thursday, Brother Greatness. And Friday, the Stepdads. So,
It's a good
um,
crew.
is there anything else that you'd like to promote on this interview?
Just in general, if anyone wants to check me out, all of my social media is at Mike Skyros, MikeSkyros. That's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I have a lot of stuff up on YouTube as well if you guys want to check that out, different matches. And I have a Pro Wrestling Tees store over at prowrestlingtees.com/Mike Skyros. So I'm working on new merch for everyone too. So keep a lookout for that once my graphics guy gets back to me.
I could be on his merch, everyone, so make sure that you keep that in
See,
mind.
yeah,
Thank you for your time, man. I really appreciate it.
of
Ladies and
course.
gentlemen, thanks for watching. Please remember to like, comment, share, subscribe, and hang around for later on this week because we have, like I just said, there's a great list of people on this week. And tomorrow, not a TOS talent, but there is a surprise interview during the day. I'm not going to say who.
All
Only
right.
one other person knows about it. And everyone's in for a real treat on that.
Right.
Thanks, Sam, for your time, man. I really appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks
Yeah.
for watching.